Hi everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day today. In today's video, I'm going to cover the whole entire market in terms of the Dow Jones, Nasdaq, and S&P 500, including the economic calendar. I do post these videos daily on my channels on X and YouTube, so double check for the latest video so you have the most up-to-date information. If you do find this video beneficial towards the end, consider dropping a like. It does help out the channel, so thank you so much for that. Before I get into the technical analysis, I'm going to go over the economic calendar. So for Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024, at 9:30 a.m., we have Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's speech in Portugal. Again, that's at 9:30 a.m., so when the trading bell opens. At 10 a.m., we have job openings, and then to be announced, auto sales will be released on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. Now, the thing is, though, futures are down for the market, and it seems like in anticipation, the markets will be down at opening potentially due to Jerome Powell speaking, and it could be heading down potentially while he's speaking as well. But I'm expecting possibly a rebound. Now, in terms of MACD lines, which indicates if we're in a bearish or bullish movement, for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, they're indicating further downside. But for the Dow Jones, surprisingly, it's showing to the upside regardless. Now, the MACD lines don't always hold true fully. They could be outweighed by, for example, the mega cap stocks, like, for example, Nvidia or Apple. If they tend to move the markets at times. So they could pull the market regardless of whatever direction that the market, like in essence, the market wants to go. If they're pulling the market a different way, the market will follow suit, obviously. And plus, the volatility index is quite low. So it's potentially pointing to we could have a further upside still. So the reason I'm saying that is in case the S&P and NASDAQ, even though they're showing downside, the indications for the market could still be to the upside based off of the volatility index being low, and then maybe the mega cap stocks could be moving up because we did see quite a bit of action. Even though technically Tesla is not really a mega cap stock, like I would say Nvidia, Apple, and Microsoft are, but Tesla was moving 6% today, so that could be a good catalyst too at the same time. So there's that. Now, in terms of the Dow Jones, I'm just going to give the upper and lower limits for the most part. So we have this 2021 upward trend resistance line dating back since 2021 upward trend resistance line, and then April of 2024 upward trend support level right about here. Now for the upper limits potentially for tomorrow, we did close at 39,169 points. The upper limits is for the most part about 39,600 points, and then the lower limits, I would say, based off just going on the moving average, we could be going lower, but I think the moving average tomorrow personally will hold us about 38,900 points, give or take. If we do go lower, there is support on the 38,700 points, but predominantly I think the moving average will hold us for tomorrow. Now for the S&P 500, it's a little bit more clear cut. Right now we closed at, I'm going to be looking at the SPY, which is an ETF for the S&P 500. We closed at $545.34. And we have seen pretty much a baseline of support right about here. There was resistance and support within this pretty much price point range, give or take. And that is roughly about $542.69. Well, not 69 exactly, but $542 and some change. So we've seen quite a bit of support multiple times. And for the S&P 500, specifically SPY ETF for the S&P 500, what could happen is during the open, while Jerome Powell is speaking, if it's the market's like like an unease, we could dip down to this level again at the 542 and some change, and then towards the after the speech start heading back up to the moving average ballpark, which is roughly around the range of $544 to the $544 to $545 and some change within that range. And then maybe towards the end of the day, if everything seems positive, head up to the higher levels, which is at the 546 and some change, and then 548 and some change. Then the next level would be, just to show you what I'm getting at for the 548, for example, it goes around here. We got 1, 2, 3 touch points, and then pretty much a cap right there. And then the next is pretty mumuch the all-time high at the 550 and some change. We could get closer to the higher levels, but the problem is, again, based off the MACD lines indicating bearish or bullish movement, they're potentially pointing further downside. For example, this is a 3-month chart. Yes, we are in the bullish movement. It could reverse the upside, but it looks like it's trying to head down potentially. So potentially further downside, but it could be because the market's anticipating Jerome Powell's speech could be on the negative side potentially. Now, if we were to go further than the 542, we could head down to this channel about the 540 to the 538 and some change. And then we could come back to this baseline here too, but it all depends. It depends on, to be honest, the market's probably just waiting for what Jerome Powell's stating, if it's probably dovish or not, and so on and so forth. Now for the QQQ, which is the ETF for Nasdaq, we closed at $481.92. And I want to show this upward trend resistance line here that dates back since 2010. Go back to the 5-year chart, and you can see this upward trend resistance line that dates back since 2010, multiple times been stopped out. Even though the market was going higher, it was keeping it underneath the whole entire time, underneath the upward trend resistance line. And then we did break through in 2020 to 2022, bounced off as support. There was consolidated support right about here, support, bounce off, and then nothing really much there, but we got underneath it and then resistance again. And then this is where we're at right now, broke through. So the one thing to note is pretty much for the most part, so this is where we broke through, so this upward trend resistance line, pretty much staying between this range right about here. So the upper limit is about $487 and some change. And then the lower limit, in my opinion, if you think this upward trend resistance line is going to hold true, you're looking at $472 and some change. Now there is in between levels. So for example, we could drop down to the moving average tomorrow for the 479 while Jerome Powell speaks, or potentially we could potentially hold true within, what is he going to say? Within this range of 478 to the 476. But I think if we were to go down to range, it all depends on how Jerome Powell's speech is, but within this range of 474 and some change. The only thing is, I will say, maybe that is not the case, because Jerome Powell, for the most part, has been speaking somewhat safe to not affect the markets too much in a way, in a negative light, I would say. So if that is the case, probably the previous levels that I mentioned, for example, the 478 would hold true, and then after that, spike back up after the speech. And if the market deems it to be fit, that the narrative is in a positive light, and so on and so forth. Now, again, the lower limit is 472 and some change, and the higher limit is 487 and some change. But we'll see. And then between the higher limits, the next level is 484 and some change. And the way I'm getting that is based off this, within an active price point of support right about here, and then resistance right about here. So that's basically 484 and some change. But we'll see. But thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day. And if you did find this video beneficial, consider dropping a like. It does help the channel. Appreciate it. And also, please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. I am not a professional. I just do this just basically for entertainment and just share my opinion. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.